Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us and watching. I'm Dr. Niki Davis, and we have some amazing people here today. We're going to have a really great discussion. We have not only Anthony Masiello, who is one of the founders of Lifestyle Telemedicine, but we also have Maxine Sigouin, who is part of MAVY Wellness. And I wanted to start out by just letting you know what we're going to be talking about today. So we are going to be talking about this exciting new partnership, if you want to call it that, where we are going to be kind of marrying both health coaching and medical care with the Mavi Wellness Group. So we're going to be talking about kind of the importance of that, not just between our different groups, but also just in general, where combining medical care with coaching, why that's beneficial. So thank you so much, Anthony and Maxine, for being here today.
Yeah, excited to be here. Thank you very much for having me on.
Yeah, thanks, Niki.
Yeah, so why don't we start out with, first of all, I want to let you all know that as we are talking, we're live. So feel free to put your questions in the chat wherever you guys are watching from. We're streaming on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, even LinkedIn. So wherever you're watching from, you can go ahead and put a comment down below and those will pop up to us, and we can answer those as we're able to while we're chatting today. But the first question that we have for you guys is, where are you watching from? So we want to kind of see where people are tuning in from. And I know, Anthony, you're in New Jersey.
I am.
Heard you got some snow.
We're buried in snow. Yeah, we got, I think within the last couple of weeks, I mean, we had to have gotten nearly 2 feet of snow. The last little bit was wet, so now we've got like a 1-inch layer of ice over snow that's over probably a foot of snow everywhere. It's pretty beautiful, but it's
probably
not
perfect for skiing.
And it's not predicted to get above freezing here for like on the 10-day forecast like ever. So it's going to stick around. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Well,
where I'm at. Oh, go ahead, Maxim.
I was going to say, I'm also buried, but in sunshine. It's beautiful outside in California. So I can't relate. I was just sitting on my camping chair outside before the recording, just reading, taking in some fresh air. So that's why I moved to this side. It's a little bit warmer.
And I'm going to guess you're somewhere in the middle, Dr. Davis.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah, and Anthony, because we've gone snowboarding together here. We've got the best snow here because it's dry climate. So we have this nice fluffy snow, but it's been the worst year. We haven't had any snow, and I'm not complaining as far as not having to walk in the snow or drive in the snow, but it's definitely not good for skiing or snowboarding, unfortunately. But it's still cold here. So it's cold, but it's not snowy.
Weird.
Yeah.
We have someone tuning in from Prague.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Welcome.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Thanks for
They're
watching.
up late.
Yeah.
A little bit later for them.
Yeah, probably. It's late at night.
What would their coach say about staying up so late?
It depends on their lifestyle. It depends what time they wake up. Hey, if they consistently go to bed at midnight, but they wake up at like 8 a.m. every morning and they've been doing it for a long time, that's pretty consistent sleep pattern. But if they're cutting short on their sleep, then yeah, I'd probably tell them to go to bed and put the phone away.
Yeah, so it's 11 o'clock there. Well, who knows? Maybe they're just getting up for their night shift.
Yeah, that too. Which is, there's so many studies on like how bad that is for extended period of time to like work nighttime. Yeah, it's so rough. I couldn't do it. Yeah. At like 9 p.m. I'm out. Lights out. I can't even stay up past that.
Yeah. Well, Maxine, why don't you start out by telling us a little bit about what Mavi Wellness is? How it kind of started and what kinds of coaching do you offer? Who's it for?
Yeah, sure. So people might recognize me from our previous company name, which was called Fit Vegan Coaching, which we've had for over 5 years. And we just recently rebranded maybe like a month and a half ago to MAVY Wellness, which is my wife and I's name together, Maxime and Ivy. It's just kind of one of our ways to reach a broader audience with our message of plant-based eating without just limiting ourselves with using the word vegan, which I've done extensive podcast conversations on if people really want to know why in depth. But basically, we're a body recomposition, whole food plant-based coaching company. So we help people improve their body composition on a whole food plant-based lifestyle. And that simply means increasing the amount of lean muscle that they have on their body and decrease the amount of fat that they have on their body to help them reduce their risk of dealing with chronic illnesses. And also to help them, keep their independence and enjoy more of life as they kind of get older. Because the majority of our members are like 50 and all the way up to Pam is 87. She turned 87 on January 9th. Just past 87. She's our oldest member officially.
That's awesome.
Awesome. So it sounds like for the most part, it's people who are kind of maybe over 50 and looking to really just improve their overall body composition. And you mentioned decreasing fat and increasing muscle.
Yeah. So, we know that if you carry an excess of body fat to a certain point, it helps to increase the risk of dealing with certain chronic illnesses. And if you are under muscled as you age, right, you're more likely to get injured, to lose your independence and not to be able to enjoy those later years in your life. And also just overall controlling these two variables would allow you to extend the years of your life in addition to increasing the quality of those. So that's like mainly what we focus on for our members. And obviously we focus on whole food plant-based eating to help increase the health element, because it's one thing to lose fat and build muscle, but if you're doing it with unhealthy foods, you're not going to feel the greatest.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, and so I'd be curious to hear from you kind of what you've seen as far as, when people are doing maybe just the health coaching. Are there times where you've found that having medical supervision while they're on this program is beneficial? And what would be the reasons for people to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's, and that's kind of the reason why I was excited for this partnership, is because there's so many different ways to, different members that will come to us. Some of them will come to us and they'll have, just recovered from cancer. We've had people that were actively kind of going through cancer. We've had people with multiple health issues that had heart attacks in the past, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. And, coming into the program, it's like, great, we're going to help you, exercise and eat healthier. And a lot of the things are going to be regulated, but we didn't have the capacity to make adjustments to medication or to change the medical support side of it. And it's like, hey, go talk to your doctor, But a lot of the times our doctor would say, not word for word, but this is silly, like eat steak and like, don't do this thing, right? Like exercise, but don't eat this whole food plant-based thing. It's not really good for you. So being able to align ourselves with you guys, which are very much on the holistic, whole food, plant-based side, was fantastic, because we could feel comfortable sending our members to you guys, knowing that we were in alignment with our values in terms of how to live and how to eat, versus, being sent to a doctor and they're like, eat chicken. And then the client would come to us and be like, oh, he told me to eat meat. Am I really doing the right thing? I was like, yes, you are. But it's tough to go against the word of a doctor potentially they've had for 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And so it's been fantastic to have the partnership, because some members potentially do need to have like reduction in their medication, adjustment in their medication. And for some people, they're in a decent spot, but it just comes down to like optimizing a little bit, because we'll do the blood work, maybe identify some deficiencies. And it's like, did you know that? No, great. Then let's focus on improving that.
And I know also, we say this all the time, like, I respect the fact that change is hard, it's challenging, right? And that people work so hard at it, and when they're motivated. And like, I just take a deep sigh as soon as there's confusion that's introduced to that process and somebody doesn't know what to do, it's like it makes it so much more difficult, and it misses a huge opportunity where someone is finally ready to do something for themselves and finally, like on a good path. And then they just get conflicting information that creates some doubt, and then starts this negative self-talk, and then starts these question marks in their mind. And then they go from a place of kind of a learning and absorbing and growing to a position of, trying to figure out defensive or confusion or which one's right and which one's wrong. So that's why I'm so excited about this, both for for patients of lifestyle telemedicine, and also for the coaching clients of Mavi Wellness, because the same thing is true for patients of the doctors at Lifestyle Telemedicine. Like, they need some support, they need some accountability, they need some work. They get a lot of that. They get a tremendous amount of that from their doctors. But like, having somebody who's really there helping them with all of those things outside of their medical care, while they're also correcting their medical issues, it's like, it just seems like the perfect storm for success.
Yeah, honestly, as you were sharing that, you made me think of a few different analogies. Like having a doctor on board, it's like being in a boat on the water trying to row somewhere, but you have holes in your boat, right? So obviously you're going to the water is going to get into the boat. It's going to be a lot harder for you to move forward. And eventually, your boat might end up going down. So having a doctor there to be able to kind of, do the blood work and catch these things and patch those holes, you're just making a more efficient vehicle to get to the place where you want to. And so I think that's why it's really valuable, because so many people put so much effort, but they got hormone issues, they got deficiencies, they got a bunch of things going on that they're not aware of. So they are rowing in a boat with a ton of holes, and they're like, why is this so hard? It's like biking with a little bit of a flat tire and you're going uphill. It's like, why is this so sticky? Why is this so challenging? So I think that's one of the great benefits is creating for a more efficient vehicle to be able to get to people's goals. And then on the flip side, like anytime we've worked with doctors in the past, so I've had referrals with doctors, like, you guys are busy, right? So I know a lot of the time it's like, hey, here's a recommendation. I need you to move X amount of minutes per day. I need you to exercise. I need you to eat healthy. Here's samples of foods or recipes that you can make. But once these people are off on their own and they're in an environment that is not conducive to them doing these new behaviors, it's really hard for them to be compliant to it. So that's where we tend to come in is kind of create that social and online environment for them with the accountability system to be like, hey, here's an actual plan on how to do these things. Here's a step-by-step, here's a meal plan, here's how you prep the food, here's your grocery list, custom for you for what you're looking to accomplish. So we kind of help to, in my hopes, alleviate the stress from the doctor of like, hey, we'll take care of them to do these things so that next time they come to you, they have better blood work. They are in a better position.
Yeah. And I was going to say that's been my experience, that the patients that I have who are getting some sort of outside support do much better, right?
Yeah.
Because of that accountability, because of that support system. And when they don't have that, the only ones that tend to do okay are the ones who are seeing me very frequently, right? And so then they're almost using me in addition to being like their medical doctor, kind of like a health coach in a way, right? And which is fine, but boy, for those people who just want to be able to see me on a regular basis, but they really need that kind of day-to-day support, having something like Mavi Wellness is it's so important for people who really want to be successful, because just showing up to a medical appointment is a great first step. Just showing up to get a health coach is a great first step, but it's really that consistency over time and that ability to maintain what you're doing that's where you see all the successes for people. So I see that side. And then, then the other side is just like you were saying with health coaching, there's only so much you can do, right? Like if someone has, significant health concerns, we've got to make sure that we're staying on top of that. And especially people who are on medications. So I am a lucky doctor in that I get to see a lot of people do really well and get better over time. But what that means is if you are on, say, 2 or 3 medications for blood pressure, you're on 2 medications for diabetes, and you start eating better, you start exercising more, you're taking care of yourself, turns out that you can become over-medicated pretty quickly. And so the doctors that I work with at Lifestyle Telemedicine, all of us are very comfortable and familiar with that. And so we know, when do we start decreasing medications? What do we need to tell those patients or those clients about what they should expect to happen so that they're safe, in addition to just being supported and being able to be successful, that they're safe in doing that. So that's also really important in this partnership is giving those people that ability.
Yeah. What a wonderful, weird problem to have. Like, you need less meds. right? And it's
Yeah.
happening so quickly that you need less meds quickly, you know, and you need to be able to make those adjustments. And yeah, I think that's why it's important for people to have a health team. You know, bringing you guys on board with kind of our nutritionists and our trainers, like it does make a full health team. And I love that we've been able to do this online, because otherwise, like 95% of my clients, I would have never been able to help, because I would have never met them if it wasn't for being online. So I think that's what's cool about what we're doing, is we get to impact people that we otherwise would not have the opportunity to.
Yeah. And I would say even patients who or even clients of yours who are getting well, if they don't have a doctor who understands lifestyle medicine, then they might not have a doctor who understands how important it is to actually stay on top of those medications and do that cheap deprescribing. Because unfortunately, if we step out of this world, what doctors are used to doing is increasing doses of medication over time, because they're so a really fantastic and well-meaning doctor may be confused or not know exactly how to treat somebody who's going through such a intensive or such a quick kind of a quick acting lifestyle modification program, right?
Right. And so if you're a doctor who is not familiar with the profound effects that you can see from switching to a whole food plant-based diet, then you're not going to have that kind of voice like that I have in the back of my head, which is, okay, I need to make sure that I do this, this, and this, so that this person is safe as they continue to see improvements. And that doesn't mean that, you know, that they're a bad doctor or anything like that. It's just that they don't have the experience. They're not as lucky as I am in getting to see people get better over time and get off the medications. What they see typically is people getting worse over time and needing more medications. Yeah. And, you know, and in fact, I had a case where I had a patient come to me who was diabetic, type 2 diabetic, had an endocrinologist. So this is a specialist in diabetes. So not just a primary doctor, but actually a specialist who was not on top of decreasing insulin needs. And so her blood sugar was bottoming out constantly. And she was taking glucose tabs constantly to keep her blood sugar up. And so when she came to me, she was severely over-medicated with insulin, even though her doctor was saying, you know, well, yeah, maybe we need to decrease it a little bit here and there. It was just not enough. And fortunately, because of my experience, I was able to catch that, and we were able to decrease her insulin requirements and get her feeling good and doing well.
Yeah, I think most people don't think of that, because I think the norm is when you get sick, you get sicker, and therefore you need more and more meds. And I think it's kind of ingrained in a lot of, not say doctors, but a lot of patients' head. I was like, yeah, it makes sense that I would take more meds because I'm getting older, and I feel like things usually go down as I get older. But they don't understand that you can go the opposite direction and things can get better if you take action.
Yeah. So, you know, and then the other issue with, you know, so if someone came to you as a client and wanted to, you know, work on their body composition, they wanted to work on improving their diet, you know, all of that is great. But just like you were saying earlier, Anthony, they might go to their primary doctor and say, hey, you know, I lost 10 pounds and my blood pressure is better. And, you know, is there any chance I could get off this medication? And they might be told, well, no, you're going to be on that for the rest of your life, no matter what. It doesn't matter what you do. Right. Yeah. And I've heard that time and time again. And yes, in certain specific situations, there are going to be some medications that maybe you need to be on for life. But for the most part, if these are chronic lifestyle related diseases, that is just not the case. And so that can be harmful because, like you were saying, Anthony, somebody who's very motivated, excited about making these changes are seeing successes. And then it's just like they get this, they're told like, no, that's, first of all, they might not even be supportive of what they're doing with the diet, right? And then they might tell them that, no, they can't get off any of their medications. So that's where working with the doctors, you know, that live this lifestyle and are familiar with this lifestyle, you know, we absolutely want to help people achieve their goals, and that might be getting off medications.
Yeah. Well, while you're explaining that, I was thinking about like a balloon that had been inflated and someone was holding the bottom closed, and then basically as the doctor starts talking to them, they just let go and all the air just kind of goes like wah, wah.
Yeah. It's the motivating to hear that.
Yeah.
Because you're so motivated to make change. Yeah, it's
So,
and I think most people don't consciously create their health team. They're like, ah, that's the doctor in my town. We'll just go to Dr. Schmo over here and he's going to tell me what to do. And he's a doctor, so everything has to be right. But they don't kind of consciously choose a health team that aligns with their value and the outcomes that they want. I'm not saying that Dr. Schmo is a bad doctor. I'm just saying everyone has their own set of knowledge and the things that they choose to believe, and that does play a role in how people coach other people and treat other people. I think people need to be more cautious of who they bring on in their circle for their health team.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
so right along that point, there are a couple of things that really stand out to me about the Mavi Wellness program specifically. And I wonder if you could explain, because one of my goals is I want everyone who watches this to understand exactly I want them to understand, number one, how fantastic the Mavi Wellness coaching program is. And number two, how much thought you've put into doing exactly what you just described, to engineering this for them so that people don't have to try to engineer it themselves. And a couple of things that jump out to me is that, I want to understand like what's different. Well, first of all, you call it body recomposition. So you're not calling it weight loss. We know that in this country, most people are overweight or obese, right? But I think that was a important thing an important decision that you made to call it body recomposition. The second is that you're aiming for, that you're specifically designing these programs for clients who are over 50 years old. And I'd like you to talk a little bit about that. And then the third thing is you mentioned specifically sarcopenia and osteoporosis. And so like, when I just think about those four elements, like I just kind of got chills a little bit, because like it really shows how this is really architected and mapped to be successful for people, but not just, we can get people to just lose weight on the scale, right? And we can get people to even to feel better or to get the numbers down, we can do that. But the fact that all of this is working together at the same time shows me the amount of thought that you've put into this. And I would just love to hear you kind of touch on those details so that other people can understand that as well.
Yeah, no, great question. So some of the answers will intertwine in between them, but I did want to make sure that there was a distinction between weight loss and body recomposition, because I think so many people are just focused on simply being lighter on the scale and don't take into account like what their body is actually going to look like and what's going to be able to do by simply being lighter on the scale. So if you take the majority of the world, which is just like, yeah, I'm gonna cut my food in half and I'm gonna train 2 hours every day to like lose this weight, they're losing a ton of lean muscle tissue. So like, yeah, they might have lost 20 pounds, but maybe 9 to 10 pounds of those 20 pounds was muscle. And so, yeah, they're technically 20 pounds lighter on the scale, but a lot of it was muscle tissue, which is really hard to gain. And if you tap onto that sarcopenia, which you've mentioned, which is the natural decrease in lean muscle tissue as you get older, if you tap that on top of you, like not purposely losing 9 to 10 pounds of muscle, but just doing improperly, which cause you to lose all that additional muscle, it's going to be so much harder for you to put back on, especially if you're 50 or 60 or 70, because all transformation is possible, but if you're 20 and you're 60, it's going to happen at a different pace. All right. We'll just be realistic. We'll need a little bit more time. So I want to make that distinction, because no one's goal is ever to just be lighter on the scale. Everyone has a psychological number that they're attached to. And it's really funny because I'll ask people, like, I want to weigh 150 pounds. So just me saying it right now, to someone that's overweight, to someone that's underweight, right? It depends on your height, on your lifestyle, and how your body is shaped. But I tell them, if I was to be able to snap my fingers, give you the exact body that you want, but you weighed 160 pounds instead of 150, would you be happy? And when I know people in the right headspace, I'd be like, yeah, of course, because I look the way I want to. But the majority of people say, no, and I don't care if I'd have the body I want. I'm upset that I'm not at 150. I'm like, cool, we need to like detach ourselves from the number, because you're going to put on some muscle and it's not going to look exactly the way you want to. So that's kind of that distinction on that point. I think that the other question was working with people over 50 specifically. So one of the few things that happen is sarcopenia, which we've covered, right? Just losing muscle as you get older, and osteopenia, just, your bones weakening as you get older. Well, there's one core thing that you can do that will help to combat both of these things, and it's going to be resistance training or strength training. So that can be shown through body weight exercise. That could be using resistance band at your house. That could be going to the gym and using weights, but applying that pressure on the bones to give it a reason to strengthen and to put that stress on the muscle, to demand of the muscle to grow, to give it a reason to stick around and to build a little bit of it. That alone will make a tremendous difference in most people's life, even if their nutrition is not fully dialed in. But then when we tap on the nutrition, then we're building that more efficient vehicle, kind of like I shared with the boat earlier. Right? You're building a more efficient vehicle to build stronger bones, to build more muscle, to decrease the amount of fat. So when we work with members over 50, we want to be considerate of their age, the previous history of injury, current physical limitation, because some of them are coming in with 2 knee surgeries, hip surgery, fused spine. They're coming in with, different limitations or lack of mobility. So when we build a plan, we meet them where they're at. Right? I've had people that couldn't do a squat. I was like, great, can you sit in a chair and get back up? They're like, great, yes. I was like, fantastic. We're going to start with sitting in a chair 15 times and getting back up. That's going to be your squat. So we really want to meet people where they're at, because if we start too strong, more likely to get injured. A lot of our members don't have a long history of strength training, so muscles aren't firing properly because they're not used to it. So their knees go in when they do a squat, as an example. Their hips are uneven and unbalanced. So we want to work on that mobility, on that strength, and build it from the ground up to now that they're able to, do a full squat without using a chair, without any weights, but without having to use like a wall to hold on to and things like that. So we meet them where they're at and build up from there. And because of your third question was sarcopenia and osteoporosis, like the strength training will take care of helping to strengthen the bone in combination with proper nutrition, which we use whole food plant-based to do so.
And I actually have a question about the osteoporosis or osteopenia part of this.
Yeah.
So, low bone density, in people who have significant osteoporosis, is there something that you guys do to make sure that people are safe in starting an exercise program? Because a lot of people who have severe osteoporosis, really low bone density, are worried that they could be injured and actually have a fracture by doing exercises.
Yeah. So when we have their initial consultation, we will ask them, and if they fall in any of those cases, we will ask them to get a paper from the doctors, like, here, are you cleared to do some form of exercise, and what does he recommend that look like? And then we'll meet them where they're at in that place. But we also do a little fitness assessment at the beginning on their onboarding call, to kind of, not on the consultation call, but once they're in, we don't make them work out to work with us. All right, you gotta do 50 push-ups, you can work with us. But we'll test mobility, some strength and things like that, just to kind of see where they're at, see if there's any limitations. And again, it's just meeting them where they're at. If it's something as, let's curl this book, let's shoulder press with no weights, all right, let's start with no resistance, but just to get the body moving, then that's what we'll do. And it frustrates people sometimes, because they're like, no, I want to sprint from the start, I want to lift the weights. But we have to teach them to be patient. So clearance from the doctor if needed, and then if needed, literally just not using any weights, right? Just doing lateral raises with the hands and starting really slowly and building up the body's ability to take on that stress on the muscle, to eventually we work on to like a 1 pound dumbbell and a 2 pound dumbbell and build their way up.
Yeah. Well, thank you for explaining. And it sounds as incredible as I was thinking it was. One thing is, so this is kind of what you do, but then when I think a little bit about how you do it, I'm just curious, in your experience, like, what are some of the common things that you see that are holding people back, that you help them, like kind of obstacles that people have put in front of themselves that you help them to overcome? To be able to be successful this time, and I say that because people try things over and over, and I can speak from my own personal experience, having tried hundreds of things, and then finally finding one that works. Like, I think that there's a big behavioral component to your program as well, and I'm interested to understand how that plays in to help people to make this the time that works for them.
Yeah, great question. You're entering into my area where I nerd out usually.
Great.
So like a lot of the work we do is psychological with members, because at the end of the day, what's in between your 2 ears is the thing that's going to limit you in terms of either being compliant or sticking with it in the long run. Like I can give you the best workout program that is the most tailored to your schedule, your life, the equipment you have access to. I can have a chef come to your house, cook your meals and everything. But if you're still not fully committed and you're still battling these demons in your head, you're not going to eat the food that's in your fridge. You're going to order DoorDash. You're going to skip your workout. You're going to sleep in. So a lot of it is, setting goals that are big enough and that true enough to the person to inspire them to want to move forward towards them. I think one thing is a lot of people set safe goals, which they know that they can hit, but it's not the goal that's going to change their life or change who they are as a person into that new identity. So I like to call them out to be, you want to lose 15 pounds? And I'm like, all right, well, I feel like that's a fake goal because I know your stats for body fat and everything. So I know it's more than 15. So I'm like, realistically, like what's the amount that would make you feel like you are a brand new person? You can do anything you want. They're like 35. I'm like, cool. If we're going to put effort into this, let's go for the thing that gets you excited, because you're not going to wake up every day for 15 because it's a fake goal. Like, let's get the real number out and let's really work towards that thing. So one is getting clear, like a lot of clarity on what's going to excite you as you move forward. And then the other part, a lot of our coaches, what they spend their time on is pulling people back and talking them off the ledge. Because a lot of people we work with, they're very eager and motivated at the beginning, right? Because there's always a bit of a honeymoon phase that people go through. It's like new and exciting, and then it kind of dies down, and you have to figure out how to keep doing the thing when it dies down. Just like any relationship, business, anything you do, it's like super exciting. You're like, wow, this is hard. I have to put work into this to make this work. And then talking people off the ledge is just, people have this weird misconception in their head that this is going to be the most perfect journey they've ever been on their entire life, that they're going to wake up every day, birds are going to be chirping, they're going to want to work out for all their workouts, that they're going to want to eat healthy food every single day, they'll never be tired and never be stressed. It's like, no, life will happen as you go through this, right? Like we're trying to build a lifestyle. It's not a 30, 60, 90 day thing. Like our shortest time frame is 6 months. And most of our people stay with us 12 to 18 months, because like that's where real lifestyle change happens. Like we're not this little quick fix thing. Like we're just literally trying to change your life. And so a lot of it is understanding that like life will happen. You will eat things you're not supposed to. You will miss workout. You will be stressed out. You will go on vacation and take a week off, or eat stuff you're not supposed to, or drink stuff you're not supposed to, depending on where you go on your trip. And understanding that it's okay, and that to not beat yourself up, just win the next meal, win the next workout. Don't wait till the next Monday, the next month, the next year to get back on track again. So a lot of our work is being like, cool, you ate 5,000 calories yesterday, you drank 2 bottles of wine. Hope you had a good time. Eat your breakfast this morning. Go do your workout, and just forget about last night. Just save it as a good memory and then just move forward. Because most people beat themselves up. They're trying to cut their food the next day to compensate. They're trying to exercise more to compensate. Like, I'm going to do cycling for 2 hours. I'm starving after 2 hours of cycling. Like, I'm probably going to overeat after I do 2 hours of cycling. And it's, and kind of negates what I was trying to do. So we try to keep people to have a healthy relationship with food and exercise. And it's a lot of it's talking them off the ledge and working on this here.
Yeah. And I like what you said, because people are motivated. People can be motivated in the beginning by fear, but you have to create that optimistic motivation, like working towards something that they feel more positive about if you want to go long term. And then if people are working with you for 6, or especially for 12 or even 18 months, like all of their routines and their habits, if they really put in the effort for that period of time, when they come out the other end, they literally are not going to have any kind of old habits to fall back on, right? Like that's where you achieve like lasting change, because now you've been doing this already for you haven't missed you haven't regularly missed workouts for 6 months or for 12 months or for 18 months, and you have been staying mostly on your diet program for 6 or 12 or 18 months. It's like, well, now it's just automatic for you.
Yeah. And sometimes even during those times, like, yeah, people will go off track for maybe extended periods of time. It's cool. Like life happens sometimes, and you get COVID, you're out for a week, like you travel, like things happen. Right. But it's just learning how to get back at it after.
Yeah.
And I think like a lot of the foundational work at the beginning is mindset, and then throughout it, that's what gets people to like stick around and turn it into an actual lifestyle. Because yeah, if they think it's perfect, and also if the goal is not exciting enough, they're not going to do anything. Yeah. And I think most people don't understand that you can use goal setting and time frames as a psychological tool to like really change your lifestyle. Because if I'll grab a random example. As you know, I'm trying to help 10,000 people by 2033 and a million by 2050, right? So if I would have said I'm trying to help 100 people by 2033, I can relax, right? We're at 1,200 now, right? I can relax. I don't need to push for anything. I don't need to be creative. I can easily hit that, right? But because the number was so big, I was like, I need to do something different, right? I'm like, let me partner with people. Let's make this work. Let's write a book. Each book sold count as a life transform. So then it forced me to think outside of the box. So if someone's like, I want to lose 15 pounds and their real goal is 35, yeah, you can squeeze in a little 15 pounds, right? Cut your carbs, exercise a little bit more. You can like push it off for like a few weeks or maybe a few months and lose it, but you didn't learn anything, right? You just kind of sacrifice a little bit of life to get it to be 15 pounds lighter. But if you say 35 pounds and you want to keep it off for 2 years, automatically that requires a different level of thinking, a different level of action taking. Like, how am I going to do this and keep it off after? And then same thing, you can use time as a tool strategy, right? You set little micro milestones for yourself. It's like, I want to lose 10 pounds in the next 3 months versus 10 pounds in the next year. If I lose 10 pounds in the next year, I can relax. Most people will wait last minute to lose that 10 pounds.
They'll try to do it in a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But if you say I'm going to do it in 3 months, it's like, oh, okay, a little bit more seriousness now. We need to start thinking of like how we're going to take action and move towards this goal. So those are two things that people can manipulate to get themselves to take bigger actions and actually commit to this lifestyle.
Yeah.
I love that. I think it's such an important conversation, especially when we talk about this idea of what people would say is failure, you know, when they have that off day, or, you know, they eat that meal that they wish they hadn't. And like you said, they're beating themselves up. And if you can just have that be a part of the conversation at the beginning, that is going to happen and it's okay. And the most important thing is, how do you react after that situation, right? Not only what you learn from it, because you might actually learn from it. You go on vacation, things didn't go as well as you'd planned. Well, why didn't they? So that the next time you go on vacation, it's a little bit better. But the other part of that is also just, you know, deciding that, okay, if I have something come up where I'm out and about, I wasn't expecting that I would be gone for so long, and now I'm without food and I had to just stop and grab something that wasn't quite perfect, that's okay. Get back to things at the next meal, at the next day, because that consistency over the long term is where people find success. It isn't just in that one day, it's the long term. So I think that that's such an important thing to bring up to people at the very beginning, so that they expect that, and then they don't feel like a failure when things aren't perfect, and then just give up.
Yeah. Did you ever hear, that's how I live my life. You can't fail if you don't quit. So like in my life, I've never failed at anything. I've only failed at one thing in my life. And that was being able to save my late partner from her cancer, because I never quit on that. And, you know, unfortunately she passed away. So that's technically the only thing I've ever failed at that I really wanted. But everything else that I have not finished, I quit to move on to something else. And if I really wanted it, I kept going no matter how many times I tripped. So you can't fail if you don't quit. So if you really want this, like, cool, right? You were stuck, you didn't have food with you, and you went to the drive-thru. All right, well, it's not going to be the end of the world. Just get back on track the next meal and the next workout. So people can get in that mind frame. Like, there's no failure. Quitting is failure, because once you quit, there's 0% chance of actually finishing the thing. If you quit a race, then your chances go down to 0. But if you walk or crawl, there's still a chance that you're going to be able to finish it. And I hope people pull inspiration from Dumb and Dumber, when he goes to, I think it's Aspen, when he's flirting with the girl, and at the end, he's like, so what are the chances of us happening? And she's like 0.001%. And he goes, so you're saying there's a chance, right? That's how you got to approach life.
I love that. I love that.
That's great. I I would like to kind of ask you both to think of something, and but first I want to give you some kudos, something that you might not even be aware of, Maxim. But then after I mention that, can I ask you to share like like one of your client success stories that that you just think is like fantastic, and maybe Dr. Davis, if you can, also do the same. But as we go into that, I want to mention, I run a potluck community here in New Jersey. And I just say that it's a relatively small community. After COVID, we didn't come back in big numbers, but we have about 30 people who come to a potluck. And one time someone walked in with your bag, and it was when you were under the Fit Vegan Coaching brand, and he had the Fit Vegan Coaching brand. And I talked to him and I said, "Oh, are you doing Maxim's program, or you do, like this?" And we talked for a little bit, and he just couldn't stop talking about how fantastic it was. And this was unsolicited advice, right? So to me, that speaks really loudly, because he wasn't, I didn't even know, right? But then the really cool thing was that two other people in the room came up and they said, "Oh, I'm doing it too." And then they started talking about who their coaches were and which programs that they were doing and how long have they been doing it and stuff. And this is, it is a whole food plant-based community, but we're out here in kind of rural New Jersey. And the fact that you've reached 3 people who happen to be in the same place at the same time on the same day, like, it really shows the impact that your program is having on real people living life. And what they shared with me, it's a really positive experience. I mean, everyone, and in fact, I followed up. That was about 6 months ago. And then one of the people came back at our January event, which was a couple of weeks ago. And I asked him, I said, "Are you still doing the program?" And he goes, "This is the only program that I've been able to stick with for a long time." So I just wanted to share that. I'm not sharing names, I don't know, but if you have any public stories or testimonials, if you could share anything. I know you do a lot of interviews with clients and things like that, so people do share this information publicly. So I'm sure there are some things that you can speak about. But if you could just share something that you think is pretty cool, I think everyone would love to hear it.
Yeah, well, I think that's pretty cool. Thank you for sharing that. It is I love that we're online because we could reach so many people, but I just wish I could connect with everyone in person, because like I love seeing our members and we do our workshops. So it does make me happy to hear that. And I think I know who you're talking about. Cyclist, right?
Well, one of them, he shared publicly too, so I'm sure you have permission to talk about that.
Yeah. No, so yeah, I know who you're referring to. Honestly, like I always revert back to my mom because it's so close, because we help her lose 50 pounds and like keep it off for 5+ years. And she's whole food plant based. She has abs now and she's 60. Like she's never had that before. But honestly, like there's a member, Rochelle, she's in the book as one of the stories, but we helped her lose 60 pounds. She was like really bloated and puffy. Like you can tell in her skin the condition that her body was in. And I worked with her one-on-one back when I was coaching, and I helped her lose 60 pounds. And she's just a completely different person, like up leveled in her career, just took bold moves. She's like, "I'm this person now." It's like, "I'm going for this job and this promotion, just kind of kept going up." She's in the finance industry in San Francisco, and her story is in the book. But I told her, like, she's kind of like my mom, more like a rounder shape, but as she lost weight, I was like, "You look like you're getting taller," because her stomach just kept getting thinner, and she just looked elongated. I was like, "You look like you gained 5 inches." But that was a really cool story because I was coaching her. I know all the little insights into her life and what changed, but she just took on life fully after. It's like, "I've never been able to like lose the weight and feel this good." And she's like, "I just want more out of life." So to me, that was really inspiring because it's one of the reasons why, in addition to the cancer story, but like I just want to help people live to their fullest potential. And I think having a fit and healthy body is the foundation to be able to do that. And she was just like a pure example of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
That's great. And I will say the one that I am thinking of is someone who I have interviewed. So she's shared her story online before. But this was actually a doctor who lives in my area in Salt Lake City. And so she was a primary doctor, and she had come to me, and she was interested in, was there anything that she could do with her lifestyle to improve her cholesterol? Because her cholesterol was high, and, she had a normal BMI. She felt like she was eating a pretty healthy diet. It was kind of like Mediterranean style, so some fish and olive oil. She really loves chocolate, so that was definitely part of her diet. But she felt like, I'm eating vegetables, I'm eating fruit, like I'm not going and eating fast food, or junk food. And so what she said to me on our initial meeting was, I'm guessing that this is probably just genetic, and there's probably not anything that I can do, but I figured I'd just try and see if you had any recommendations. And the reason that I really love this story is that, she was willing to do whatever it took. And so I gave her a meal plan to follow for 2 weeks. And I said, how about we do this? Why don't you just stick with eating this way for 2 weeks? Just try it. Let's check your cholesterol again at the end, and let's just see what happens. And so she did. She stuck to it for 2 weeks. At the end of those 2 weeks, we rechecked her cholesterol, and it was all in the normal range. In fact, I want to say that the total, or the LDL, had dropped by 50 points. So it was a huge improvement. And even she was shocked, and she couldn't believe, like, oh, this is not genetic. This was lifestyle related. And I feel like I love that story, because not only did she feel like, hey, I feel like I'm already doing everything, I don't know that there's anything I could do. And then she was proven wrong. She was able to see the benefits of lifestyle medicine and eating a whole food plant-based diet. But the fact that she's also another healthcare provider, and now she's been able to see that benefit for herself. I can't tell you how many people she's referred to me. So it's really exciting, because now she has the ability to help other people, because she's been able to see the improvement for herself. So that was a really great case for me to be a part of.
That's awesome. And
Yeah,
and
I was gonna say that's. Oh, sorry. That's
ahead.
fantastic, because you impacted the impactor, like the people that gets to have impact on other people's life. I think that's beautiful.
Well, I was going to say that as well, Maxim. And when you're talking about reaching 10,000 people, I know you're talking about you directly reaching 10,000 people. But by the time you directly reach 10,000 people, even that you've said, I think you've reached 1,700 or so people now. Like, those people reach other people, and the impact, like, literally does multiply over time. So it's much harder to measure, of course, right? But you may be much closer to that 10,000 than you even know.
Yeah, no, so a lot of people tell me that. I'm just like, I'm such a numbers guy. I was like, I want certainty.
No, direct. No, I get it.
Yeah.
Because directly reaching 10,000 people probably means you reach 30, 40, 50,000 people, really. Right.
Yeah, I know there's like an equation out there that, like, statistically each person has X amount of, like, impact on their community, like a certain amount of people. Because a friend of mine did like a cycling for cancer and whole food plant-based. Nicolette Richer, you guys know her from Whistler. So I know Nicolette for a long time. I actually talked to her like before my late partner passed away in the hospital, asking for her advice. Like, we've known her for a long time. But she did something like that. If I reach X amount of people, the multiple is like 7, and then that will reach kind of the million. But also, I'm proud to say I recalculated this morning. So we're just over 2,300 people amongst everything I've ever done, like donation to cancer patients and all that stuff, and the book and the program. So we're almost 25% of the way through, and I still have until 2033. So I was pretty darn excited this morning.
Yes, that's awesome. Well, do we have time to go for a couple of questions? I know we went a little bit over.
Yeah, no, let's do it. Yeah. And actually, so that I was actually just going to pop that one up. This is someone who lives in my town in Salt Lake City and recovering from a major injury, would like to connect. So, first of all, Mavi Wellness, this is all virtual, right?
Yeah.
And all of our doctors at Lifestyle Telemedicine are virtual, so it doesn't matter where you live. And in fact, for medical care, we have doctors that cover all 50 states, DC, and international. So it literally doesn't matter where you live. You can see one of our doctors. So they can help, so we should put up the website so that they know where to go for MAVY Wellness. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention really quickly, because being in Salt Lake, is I run a potluck. So just like you, Anthony, I have my own potluck here in Salt Lake City. And kind of going back to that, the importance of community and how you can affect other people in your community. So coming to the potluck and just being a part of that, I think is great. So you could always send us a DM at Lifestyle Telemedicine. We can give you that information so you can join our potlucks in Salt Lake.
Beautiful. I'll try to make one day when I get out to Utah. When
Please.
I'm back from Asia.
Down first. Yeah.
Wait until there's better snow for skiing.
Yeah. I'm gonna come during the summer. I'm a summer guy.
There you go. Yeah, we can do some hiking in the Wasatch.
That's perfect. Yeah, I'm a fake Canadian. I need heat.
All right. So this question is: my cholesterol is a little high, and I eat plant-based. My friend's cholesterol is low and eats everything. I know that's not a question necessarily, but that is absolutely possible. So, in fact, there was a study that looked at what they would call an unhealthy vegan, an unhealthy plant eater, and their cardiovascular risk versus a healthy omnivore. And they found that actually the unhealthy vegan did worse. So just because you're eating plant-based does not mean that you're automatically going to have low cholesterol. And so that's something that, when you're working with a coach or a provider, you can kind of talk through and determine where you need to make some tweaks. And then of course, there's going to be some genetic components too. If you have a big history of heart attacks and strokes in your family, there's a chance that you might have something genetically that causes your cholesterol to be either elevated or even low, no matter what you eat. But having low cholesterol is great. It's great for your overall risk, but that doesn't mean everything, right? Because even though your cholesterol is low, it doesn't mean that you don't have inflammation in your arteries. It doesn't mean that you aren't putting down plaque in your arteries that can rupture and cause a heart attack or a stroke. So cholesterol is something that we look at, but it's not everything.
Yeah, I was just gonna chime in there. Like, I have friends that are anomalies too, and they can eat like 3 times the amount of food I can to be lean. And sometimes I'm jealous. I'll be honest with you. I'm like, hey, you can eat all this stuff and you're staying lean. So there's always some of those people. So I always tell, like, just look at your own blood work and your own data, because that's only, like you said, that's only one picture of their friend. Like, you don't know anything else that's happening in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was not really a question, but I did want to mention that Jeff Richer, our friend, our Lifestyle Telemedicine community member and good friend in the Philadelphia area, mentioned to Susan that also, there are online communities like the NHA and others who we're also friends with, who provide some resources for people to get some, just to be around like-minded people. He shared that. That's a nice thing. And then our very own Susan Shaponik chimed in, and Maxim, she wants you to know that she's already enjoying working with your clients who are seeing the doctors at Lifestyle Telemedicine. So it's really, she's echoing also that it really is a fantastic collaboration. Yeah, we're all excited about it.
Thank you. I'm excited too. I'm really happy that we made this happen.
Me too. Thanks. And Niki, it looks like Susan said thank you. Salt Lake City, Susan said thank you, and it looks like you'll probably be seeing her soon.
You're welcome, and hopefully you get to come and eat some delicious plant foods with me soon. My next potluck is in 2 days on Saturday, so
there you go.
There's your chance, but we do it every month.
Fantastic. Anything that we missed, or anything else that someone wanted to mention before we close? Oh, Maxim, one other thing, and you held it up briefly, but you didn't show us the cover. But I'm really excited about how accessible you and your information is to people. So people who aren't even joining a program, they can really benefit from all of this work and all the thought that you've put into this by getting your book. And the book is called Forever Fit. And if you want to just say a couple things about it and where people can grab it, I would love for people to have that available as a resource as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so this is 1 year labor of love. I'm happy the process is done and it's out into the world now. I basically put the program into the book, right? So if you want all the steps and processes and frameworks and equations, and there's 500 recipes, there's over like 20 meal plans, there's workout programs in there that you can follow. Like you can tailor it to your own, but there's a lot of resources to be able to use to transform. If you want, let's just say that the program is potentially financially not possible for you at this time. The book is $20. I think it's on special 18 something right now on Amazon. I say get a copy of the book, implement it step by step, and you'll be able to have an incredible transformation, right? If you're someone that needs accountability, then that's when kind of coaching comes in, to have someone be there and kind of have that community. But if not, like I literally put everything in the book so that I can feel confident counting it as a life transformed towards our mission. So you can go to foreverfitbook.com, but ultimately it'll direct you to Amazon. So wherever you are in the world, just go over to Amazon, Forever Fit. If we keep doing a good job, it's going to stay at the top of the search, which, I'm happy that we hit #1 bestseller in 4 categories with the Kindle and the paperback already since Monday. So yeah, Amazon's going to be the best place to go.
Yeah. And I'll say that Amazon is catching up with their supply, because I ordered the book. It's actually taking a couple of days to arrive. I'm actually happy about that, because it means that other people are getting the book, like that so many people are getting it, that the demand is so high that it's coming out. But I think they've caught up now, and now it's coming back out as like kind of next day delivery kind of situation.
Yeah. A good problem to have. I'll take it.
Wonderful problem to have. Yeah. Anything else, Dr. Davis?
I think that's it. Yeah. Thank you so much, Maxine, for spending some time talking with us. I can speak for all the doctors at Lifestyle Telemedicine and Anthony and Susan that we are all really excited to get to be a part of your group. And I think that it's going to just be a win-win on both sides. We really love the idea of being able to have that coaching support and the body recomposition aspect of your group, in addition to the medical care that we can provide. And I'm sure for you, having that ability for those people who want to get off medications, who want to do this safely, who need that supportive doctor, medical team, that it's just going to be great for both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate you guys and all the hard work that you're putting. Like our members tell us, from doing the consultation with you guys, they love you guys. So I'm very excited for this partnership.
Fantastic.
Us too. All right. Well, thanks again so much. And thanks to everybody who was watching today. And we will see you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, guys.